It does appear that we are down Glenn, but welcome to the Pirates of Drinax. We'll be picking up where we left off last week. Keith and Ting have boarded a freighter in the docking bay next door. They are on Salif, and they have conned their way onto a ship, an A2 Hero class ship known as the Yoshi Sin. And there are 5 crew members that are they are sharing like a whiskey with that Ting has doctored with uh, a anesthetic that was supplied to him in the past from Beth. He's got to be running out of that. I think he only got like 1 or 2 doses left, but.
Well, it's all in the bottle now. I'm happy to say I have to get more because I put all I had in the bottle and started sharing drinks. I mean, if they OD a little bit, I've got a doctor around. It's okay.
But before we get started, we'd like to thank one of the friends of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They are just products that we really like. And tonight we would like to thank Dogmight Games. Dogmight Games makes beautiful wooden tabletop accessories for your games, such as custom wooden DM screens, player vaults, dice vaults. They've got custom wooden dice towers, all manner of really cool things. I really highly recommend the player vault. It is exceptionally cool. If you want, you can get these items completely customized. A customized item will usually take about 8 to 6 weeks, or 6 to 8 weeks to ship to you from the time of purchase. But they have a lot of items that are in stock in their inventory, so I recommend checking that out first. It's great if you are looking for a gift idea or something like that. You're not sure what the person would want, or if you're just in a hurry. Those items usually ship in 1 to 2 business days. We have a code that is good for 10% off of anything on their site. Just when you put your items into your cart and you're checking out, you can use the code FRIEND in all capital letters, and that will get you 10% off your purchase. We also have a merch store via Zazzle. There are a number of items on the store, hoodies and t-shirts and buttons. The Pirates of Drinax flag logo that was created by Cameron is on the button, or on one of the buttons, and one of the sets of t-shirts. Those are available. There is a fleece blanket that comes in 3 sizes. We now have poster maps for the Braunhaven campaign world. All manner of things. The 100% of the proceeds from that store go directly back into our channel, which helps us pay for things like the Roll20 subscription and Incarnate and a number of other items. So if you want to help us out, go get yourself a t-shirt and a button, and we really appreciate everything you do. All right, so, so, Ting and Keith. So you guys, so if I remember correctly, these guys took a drink. I'm not sure what Keith did, but Ting poured his drink out onto the floor.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to avoid taking a drink, but I guess I'll like trip or something and drop my drink. I think that's what I'll do.
Okay, so you're go ahead and make a deception plus go ahead and make a deception plus intellect check.
Okay.
Or I guess in this case it would be deception plus dexterity check.
Okay. Nice. 12.
Okay, so it is believable. These guys. Oh my. Okay. So these guys all down their drinks, and all of them turn and look at you and Ting, and the one that has been acting as the leader kind of looks at his cup, and he pulls it up and drinks the rest of it, and he goes, "Something funny about that. There's a weird taste to it." None of them appear to be slowing down or getting groggy or anything.
Weird. That's not good.
Maybe they're androids or something.
Uh,
Well, I mean, all I know to do is enjoy our time and then ease our way out and just scope the place. I mean, we could have another round.
are you going to suggest that? What are you saying?
Yeah, man. I'll say, man, the taste of this shit changes as you drink more. Look, and I'll pour all 5 of them a drink. And I go, it's amazing. It'll have kind of a fruit flavor then. And I'm going to kind of try to do this placebo thought thing, try to sell it and see if they'll take another drink.
Okay. Both of you make a recon plus intellect check.
11.
9.
Okay. So Ting, the guy reaches out to take the cup, and you see. Hold on here. You notice that when he reaches out, the sleeve of his jumpsuit kind of hikes up a little bit on his arm, and you see that his forearm has telltale lines in it, like he's got a cybernetic arm.
Oh, cool. Yes.
That might be bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know that we have to,
Specifically, you see a line going around the wrist on 2 sides, and it is intersected by a line that goes up the middle of his forearm. Looks up the sleeve. Looks like it probably goes to the elbow.
I mean, that could change in any number of things. I mean,
Is it rude to ask about people's cybernetic arms? Or is it like socially
I
acceptable?
don't know, but if these dudes all
Like,
took,
hey, dude, you get freaky with that thing?
if all taking a couple of rounds of this shit and they're standing and this is the dose that Beth gave us and they don't fall, I mean, I don't necessarily want to fuck with them. I don't want to get us killed. We
Yeah.
take them for their time and step the fuck out. I kind of suckered Keith in here a little bit. I don't want to get killed, So, I mean, I guess, if they're doing another round, we'll see what happens as we kind of wrap up the conversation.
So they down the rest of it, and again, no effect. They don't. You guys can both make another recon plus intellect check.
8.
I got 9.
So Keith, you're not only are they not only, I mean, these were good sized cups. I mean, we're not talking like shots here. You guys are pouring the red Solo cups. These are camping shots. And not only are these guys not showing any signs of sleepiness that would be you've seen his tea and crumpets before. They're not showing any signs of that. They're not even showing any signs of intoxication at all.
Yeah, there's no reason to look under this rock.
Yeah, I agree. There's no reason to poke on this corpse here. I think we should get out of here.
Yeah, we'll thank them for their time, nanu, and ask to be, shown off the ship.
So they're like, go ahead and make a. Again, I need to look. Add a character sheet. Go ahead and make a carouse plus social check.
I'm going to do it fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
And I needed it 9.
So, yeah, you're not rolling so hot this week. So, they're like, oh, okay, no problem. And he the guy with the arm kind of pats you on the back, and you can feel that this arm is clearly not real. And he goes, oh, well, thanks for the drinks, friend. And he says, I highly recommend, you should head out towards Caldos, and they're he says Prince Richter and the Greenhigh movement are offering some pretty lucrative tickets, and he says we've got a few inside connections with the Imperial military. So he's like, head out to Janus and equip yourselves, and then and he hands you a card, and it's a holographic type card. So when you look at it, a hologram comes up, and it shows.
Now, see, he's mentioning that Janus shit, and we've had assassins come after us from Janus.
And he tells you that you should look up. He says, go to Janus. He says, look up Trojan hardware. And they've got everything that you could possibly want to outfit yourselves. And he says, 1 parsec over, head over to Caldos, and you can sign up for any number of tickets. Just tell them that you want to sign up for Prince Richter, and they highly lucrative contracts that are available.
Well, thanks for that information. That's really helpful. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and it's been a pleasure chopping fucking shop with you.
He says, yeah, good to see you. It's always good to see somebody else that's a part of the movement.
Yeah, man, fuck them pussies.
And so he they let you off the ship, and as they let you off the ship and the door closes behind you, the airlock iris valve is closing. Just before it closes, you can hear all of them just start busting up laughing when the door closes.
Yeah, they
Nice.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a bunch of jerks. You need to crank them. Or you leave them alone. They have cybernetic arms. Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, I could have set off fucking a grenade in there, one of those EMP grenades, and seen how that affected them. But I mean, there's no reason to poke with that. I guess I
At the moment. Yeah.
right. There's a reason I've lived this long.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's making good decisions, right?
That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
So you guys step off the ship. Beth, you are let's see, you were still at the hospital. This entire actually, I have a new thing to show you.
Mm.
Actually, I might have shown it to you last week, but even better. So this is the entire Trojan Reach, and there we are. So you guys are up here. Excuse me. You guys are up here at Salif. There are all over. I mean, this is the big breaking news from Traveler News Service. It seems to be on every channel, and it seems to be kind of one of those news reels that is breaking into the local news about every 30 minutes, and somebody has more commentary on it and what it could possibly mean. And we kind of touched on it last week here in Arunasir. So Arunasir, you guys were at Arunasir long time ago, like God, what, 3-4 years ago. A Renaissir does have, and you've run into a number of Aslan that have been a part of this. A Renaissir has a series of issues where Aslan Ihati have kind of, I was going to say bombarded the planet, but that's not necessarily true. A Renaissir has kind of a split population. In fact, let me look at my chart here. Where is it? Where is it? I guess that would be Borderland subsector. Here. The Borderland, Renaissir. Tell you exactly, and I hope I'm right because I'm doing this from memory, but so yes. So originally, a Renaissir was basically populated and was pretty much seized by Ihati. And this initial ambitious Aslan Ihati that seized it, his followers came in. And this was back in 809. So, I mean, it's now, you know, around 1106, 1107, somewhere in there. Probably closer to 1107. Honestly, it's probably closer to 1108. But anyways, and so the Aslan stormed the capital city, kind of overtook the entire thing, but then they didn't really have a unifying leader because the prefect ended up killing this Aslan that kind of set this whole thing up, right? And so the invading force just kind of busted up into dozens of different factions, and those factions, because of how Aslan operate, they're like, okay, well, this is our territory, and then if the other band actually goes into their territory, then they start to get pissy, and they get into a match, and then they fight each other, and so the whole thing just kind of turned into a clusterfuck. And so a Renaissir is basically split between a human population and the Aslan Ihati, and for the most part, they have, I wouldn't say integrated, but they have found a happy medium where they can kind of sort of get along without a constant conflict. And what this newsreel is that one of these Aslan Ihati factions, and it sounds like it is quite the ways from the capital city. So wherever this band is, it seems like it's hundreds of thousands of clicks away from wherever the capital city is. These Aslan Ihati, it was witnessed that there were some small trade ships, that 2 of them, that came in, flew over this Ihati band's camp, and something was released from those ships and airdropped to the ground. And then the ships left. And shortly thereafter, these Aslan went ape. They went batshit. And so there are reports of cannibalism and not only on each other, but they are going out and actually hunting other Aslan, and the whole thing has turned into this huge news story about, you know, what could possibly be going on. And some of the commentators are saying things like, oh, well, maybe you know, it could be that these Aslan have some disease that's not well known to the public, and that maybe the Third Imperium or another polity came in with a cure and are attempting to cure them, that kind of thing. There is, of course, rumors that have popped up thanks to Ting's video. They're being called unsubstantiated rumors about a bioagent things of that nature. So far, all of the news stations are proclaiming that they don't want to get into conspiracy theories and things like that. But then you switch over to the Fox News network, and of course they're all over it, and some of them are all for it. They believe Ting's video wholeheartedly, and it's all over the place. But
it was very well done.
They're
just saying.
They're breaking in, to the local news channels about every 30 minutes. Not that they have any new updates. It's every 30 minutes. It's a rehash by different people of what they think is going on.
Go ahead, brother.
So we're in a situation where we are the only ones who really know about this agent,
right?
For sure, we're the only ones who have actually encountered it and lived to tell about it, and we've seen it all over the place. And now it's in the wild. That's great,
right?
I still think we should go to Drinax and see if we can track down 37 or 17, whichever. I keep forgetting.
I think 37 is the correct one. It's 37. Been a while.
Yeah. If I want to do that and see what's on the orb, but that is, not far out of the way if you're wanting to go to Arenaseer and worry about it. But the damage is done there.
Yeah. We can't help.
If we're gonna try to cut the head off of that snake, we need to go to Janus.
Yeah, we need to go to
Caldos and Janus to cut the head off that snake. But again, there's half a fleet missing of Sindalian ships, and that pays. So chasing that rabbit hole is what I would like to do. But I'll support whatever. I don't give a shit. We could also go to Birney or whatever, way down here past Drinax, and see what's up with the old kingdom thing. Because they produce ships and all that there. What I understand, there's harriers and all that.
So you you guys have had some very limited experience with Birney in the past. They are they're kind of insular jackoffs. They're jerks. Their official stance is that so they were established by Sindalians as a watch post and naval depot by the Sindalian Empire, and the Empire at that time was threatened by raiders and barbarians from trailing. So essentially, I think that would be over in what is now the Aslan Herate, and they now in today's world, they were recontacted by the Third Imperium in 329, and Birney's scout ships challenged the Imperium and ordered them to stand down. That's the size of the balls these guys got, and their official stance is that they're going to keep doing their thing on Birney, and until a successor makes themselves known and they have proof that the Sindalian Empire is coming back. And until that time, they are going to stick to themselves. They are regularly operating as pirate hunters, and their world has been heavily invested in by General Development Company. And in fact, Jadeko has provided them a small squadron of jump-capable pirate hunting ships, in addition to the Sindalian era ships that they already produce. So,
Hmm.
And then another option that we could do is we could just disappear from this area for a while. I mean, the more shit that we do in these few sectors, the heat just keeps building. But I mean, we could try to finagle our way up north. There's these other little kingdoms way up at the top, that I mean, there's possible contacts and stuff there to explore and adventure, but that's just relocating and sniffing about. I mean, of course, there's try to get up close to the Imperium space and see if we can fuck around and get us a contact to further clean our name.
Hmm.
I mean, we've got a lot of money now, so I mean that tends to make things
A bit easier.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we steal a couple more ships on the way and saw them off, we'll be very privileged with our money if we're not already. But I mean, the route that sounds more fun to me is fucking following the batshit crazy storyline, and that's going and finding 37.
If we do that without going to Janus, then we're gonna get we're gonna have assassins after us the whole time, right?
Oh, they're
Possibly.
after us. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like this is gonna come to a head pretty soon if we don't deal with it now.
Um,
So
it's just a matter of
you do know of another world that has access to Sindalian era ships, and they fly them quite openly, and that would be over here, Gortel. Now, their biggest issue is that they they are smack dab between the Glorious Empire and the Herate. So
Oh, that's right.
Gortel, Colony 6, and Delta Theta are pretty much war torn. They are frequently right in the middle of all conflict between those two powers. Hold on just a second.
Like an agent and let it go all the way through there.
So
that would really change things up.
So the thing about Gortel, you'll notice that Gortel, Gortel, they are amber zoned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what you know about Gortel is that it is essentially a theocracy run by somebody under the title of a Duchess Admiral, and but whoever the Duchess Admiral is just doesn't really matter, because Gortel is actually pretty much controlled under an entity called the Church of Nom. Nom. And yeah, they are, the church is a huge player in their politics, and they are. It's hard to. I can't think of. Well, I mean, I can think of a number of current day religions. I mean, like Scientology is a pretty good one. But they're down to the point that the church believes that any ownership of a Sindalian vessel means that they own that ship. Yeah, they are they are all kinds of uppity about it, and their ships are in fairly good condition, but they're not new like they are down at Birney. Now, like I said, Birney's ships are new by today's standards. They are not the classics that you're flying, but Gortels are in pretty good condition. They're probably, patchwork together somewhat, but they are still in good flying order. But if you show up in the Harrier, they're going to immediately, their whole thing is going to be to try to board you and then commandeer your vessel and claim it as part of the Duchess Admiral and the Church of Nom, because all of that belongs.
Right.
all your bases belong to us, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the main thing to decide is if we want to go deal with the assassin thing while we're over here, or if we want to go try and chase the orbs.
Yep. Those are the two obvious storylines.
Last time that my character didn't know what to do, she went to the fortune teller. Are there any on
Salif?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a streetwise plus intellect check.
I'm probably screwed. Okay. What's my street size like? Got one.
As pirates, I would hope you would all have at least one in streetwise by now.
True.
I got 14. I did really good.
Wow. Okay. So yeah. I was actually trying to find time today, and I just failed miserably. I was going to try and use those new sci-fi map assets to come up with some kind of street map for Salif. What am I looking for here? It is. So, So you are kind of wandering around, and keep in mind, Salif, the population on Salif is appears visually appears much more than it is, and but it's not that there's a lot of people; it's that it's just very densely packed into this twilight band, and so you're wandering around the Startown, around the port, and kind of poking around, asking questions, and you kind of walk into a in your search for people that might know the area better. You kind of wander into a Spacer's dive bar, and you run into a woman, and I can show you what she looks like. And she is at the bar, and you ask her, and there's not a lot of people in this bar. Spacer bars that aren't a part of the starport are usually pretty. You would have to. The people that would go to these kinds of bars in the Startown are going to be, those that are in the know about, whether or not it's a good bar or not. And I guess she doesn't have a. That doesn't matter. We don't care that much about her. So she is going to be called the Depressed Spacer. And so this is the woman that you run into. And she is, like I said, she is brutally depressed. And she kind of, you kind of ask her, if she knows of any fortune tellers or anything. And she that kind of gets her to laugh a little bit. And she tells you no, no. She says, well, she goes, I guess maybe I do. She says, but not necessarily here on Salif. And she kind of goes into her story that she is a trader by trade. She actually has her own far trader, and she tells you, she says, you know, she's been out of work for a while, and she's been here on Salif. But it's not because she doesn't have any leads. She says she does. She says I've got numerous leads on well-paid work, and you know, I even if I didn't want to use my own ship, I could be a part of a crew for many different reputable ships. But she says she kind of leans closer to you, and she waves over to the bartender, and he brings you over 2 shots of whatever she's drinking. And she says, I'm going to be honest. She says, I can't bring myself to go out there again. I can't bring myself to go into jump space. She says, I fear that I'm going to lose my soul if I do. And she says, or maybe I'll just lose myself. Maybe both. She says, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't bring myself to do it. And she explains to you that she is a neo-animist. That's kind of her religion. And she believes that she has been exposed to the effects of jump space too many times. You can go ahead and make a... I gotta look and see if there's... Is there a skill for this? You guys are making me work hard and figuring out what skills apply to what. Not really? Yeah, there is. Go ahead and I don't know. Do you have science skills?
Yeah. I got life sciences.
Well, then you can make a broad skill science check. So 0 for that skill because this would really be under social sciences, I would think.
Okay.
So you can make a broad skill social sciences check plus intellect or education, your choice.
9.
Okay, so you've heard a little bit about neo-animists. They're not a major religion, but they are more popular. And I'm not even so sure that you would call it a religion. But it's one of those. It's a philosophy that borders on religion, kind of thing. And you've heard of them. They're not large in population, but there's enough of them throughout charted space that you've heard of these guys before. And they believe that there are certain places that are powerful and that are of particularly spiritual significance. And one of those places that they believe is jump space. And there are some of these people that will believe that in jump space, you are actually closer to, I guess, not necessarily. I mean, it could be described as God, but probably more closely to a intellect or some kind of overarching entity. There are other people, you know. Some people believe that there's a certain starport bar or an Astro Burger or whatever has some kind of spiritual importance. Some will believe that certain animals have some kind of spiritual importance, particularly to that person. You know, they're kind of all over the place, and so she is one of those that believes that that the longer that you spend in jump space, the further away from the physical you are, and that removes you from the divine. And so she feels that if she goes back out into and makes a jump, that it's going to devour her soul. That she thinks that maybe in your case, it's possible that perhaps in jump space you might gain some kind of insight. And she says that she's heard others that have talked about that kind of thing. For them, jump space is their spiritual connection, and she says, and you know this. Most ships, your characters would know this. Most of the time in jump space, the windows are shuttered and closed, and because there is some belief that if you stare out the windows into jump space for too long, you'll kind of go bibbledy. There's really no proof to that. I mean, yes, there has been a couple of people, but they were probably mentally unstable ahead of time, or possibly drinking brake cleaner down in the engineering shop. These people that she mentions, they frequently open the shutters up, or they'll go up into a turret and just sit there and stare at jump space for hours on end until a revelation comes to them.
All right. Well, I'll try that because I think we're going to jump to like number 1 or something, regardless of which way we end up going. So I'll take that advice to heart. I'll give it a shot.
But before you get up to leave, she grabs your arm and she says, "Be warned that there are terrible things that lurk in jump space."
That's cool.
Like Cthulhu? So yeah, and that's all you gain from that.
That's okay. I mean, I was looking for a cryptic answer anyway. That's pretty great.
That's Dragger. I guess he's trying to connect via his tablet.
Oh.
Huh.
All right.
Anyways, oh, that's weird. Yeah, I know that because I connect on my tablet sometimes, but you have to do it through you're not going to get anywhere with their app. Their app is ridiculous, but you have to use Chrome. So, anyways, so you kind of leave the bar and you're like, okay, that was a weird encounter.
I guess the answer will come to me on the way.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to do anything else? Do you want to try and get that ship in trouble? Because I have a devious idea how to do that, if that's what you want.
It seems like it would be wise to get that ship in trouble if we could.
Get them in trouble.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, go to the port authority or whatever it is. Tell them you had some drinks on that ship, and then you were drugged, and that the bottle with the drug residue is likely still on the ship right now, and you have no idea what they did with you while you were incapacitated. Because it's probably still on there. So, just saying, they'll probably get their shit locked up for a while.
Might hold them up for a day.
But then it also might get people looking at our fucking biometrics and shit. They handled the bottle.
Well, of course you did. They drugged you and you drank out of it. Like, there's nothing. You just went and told first. That's all that happened.
We could do that. File a report. Say you fucking passed out on their things and you woke up with a greasy feeling between your butt cheeks and you don't feel right.
My legs are wobbly and I've got diarrhea. What's going on?
Yeah.
So, So, okay, so you guys are gonna go make a report to the Starport Authority.
Damn right. Name dropping
Sure.
on Miss Zazzle while we're here because we are cool with.
Okay, so you guys can make a admin. Uh, whoever wants to fill it out can make an admin plus intellect or education, and because you know Tasni Zizzle, you can add a +2 to that. For
I have
name.
2 in admin. So,
Do it.
all right.
You know the
Name
proper
drop.
forms to fill out
I
to tell
do know
this story.
That's 10.
That's good because that's what you needed. This was a difficult check, and so yeah, the Starport Authority are like, yeah, like, and the one cop's like looking at you and Tang and are like, is it Tuesday already? I mean, like this goes on all the time, and like, I mean, usually, you know, I mean, usually male crew members are a little bit more shy about reporting it, but yeah, it happens, and they're like, well, because you are friends of Tisney, and it is easy for them to look up that the last time you were here, that you went out to her residence. So they're, you know, they take you seriously, and they file it, and they will get right on that.
We believe they're cyborgs.
And then,
Throw that in there.
Let's throw that in there.
yeah, he says, well, he goes, that's not unusual. He says, a lot of the population of Salif has augmentations.
Nice.
All right then.
Okay.
We fit right in.
Hopefully it'll
Sweet.
slow them up so they don't follow us or fuck with us. I mean, well, if they fuck around, they will find out. That cyborg shit helps great when we're face to face, but it don't stop missiles very well.
Yeah, no, they are going to investigate. In fact, they're sending two guys down to investigate that ship right now, and they are going to on these two security officers that are heading down to the bay. They are going to pick up a ship inspection, a ship inspector, a port inspector, and they're going to go over that ship, and they'll investigate, and if they find evidence corroborating what you have reported, they will be arrested.
Hell yes. Then we steal their ship.
I was thinking about it. Or we could just take off and hope it jams them up.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's the solution.
Yeah, let's just move along.
I also want to stare out the jump space windows really bad now, so that would be cool.
The main question is where do we jump to?
I thought we'd end up going to number 1, or are we hated there?
We can go to number 1 and use this.
Well, I mean,
the
you're
healing
in.
station.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
could go to number 1, and I mean, you're in the
But then
Harrier,
we'll
which
either way.
is a stealth ship. It's got stealth jump. So I mean, space is big. So you could go to number 1, and if you just want to do wilderness refueling and avoid the main world, you're probably not going to piss off the what 11-year-old and 10-year-old warden, the ruler of number 1, who you know is all wanting to pick you guys up.
We have the fueling station on.
Yeah, you've got a
the-
fueling. That's right. You don't have to do wilderness refueling because
Okay.
you've got a fuel station around the gas giant.
Okay, yeah, I just figured we can go to number 1 and we can go either direction. So that'll be our first step no matter what. That's where I want to jump to.
Sounds fine
All
to
right.
me.
Cool.
Okay. So, hold on just a moment. I don't know. I'm all screwy tonight. funny because I've got this picture that I always thought, that's kind of cool. But I was like, I don't know when I would ever use it. And now Cameron's giving me a.
If I don't see anything sufficiently crazy out the windows, I can take some of that hallucinogenic dust spice or whatever, right?
Do you guys have any of that left?
I thought we had a shitload. That was my recollection.
Well, you had you had I thought you had like a case of like 9 bottles or something like that. And but you used a bunch of it for something, or you traded
Yeah,
it.
we did.
You traded it.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I thought we used it all up.
But I think you would have at least 1 bottle left.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be crazy out there and I won't have to. But okay.
I want to see tentacles and shit.
Yeah. Give me a vision space. Jump space.
Thought I had a bottle of that fucking special fucking.
Yeah, it's the it's from the spiders. Hold on.
Yeah, the hallucinogenic spider things.
Yes.
I'll give her a bottle of that.
Yeah, I thought you had like 1 bottle left.
Yeah.
We'll see if I need it. Or if anybody wants to join me, I guess.
We can all pass the bottle around. Just sit up here in the turret, all crammed into the turret.
How about we unshutter the window?
Well, I mean, you got 2 turrets, unshutter the windows and just, let the light in. So you guys are jumping to number 1, so in your how long are you going to spend up there?
Looking out into space, or
yeah,
until I have a revelation, like the depressed woman said, about should we pursue vengeance or go home and try and figure out the crazy orb situation.
Okay, so this, I guess, is the closest that we have to what jump space looks like.
Ooh. That's pretty neat.
And so, so you guys make your preps and you go into jump space, and are you passing the bottle of the hallucinogen around, or?
Wait, well, let's just see what's out there first.
Okay.
Is it pretty boring? I'll look for like a good hour.
So everybody, roll 2d plus your sanity.
Oh shit! Where's that? Oh, okay. I'm not super funny, apparently.
All right, I got a 4.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit.
I got 5.
I got 10.
Look at the sanity on Keith. Shit.
So Keith is like looking out. This is probably not the first. Being an engineer, Keith, this is probably not the first time that Keith has actually seen jump space. Probably the first time that he's ever stared out into it, for any length of time, because there's just not that much out there. I mean, there's a bunch of colors, and but for the most part, Keith's just not really. He's not getting anything from this. He's like, yep, bunch of colors. It's pretty. Beth and Ting, like, the longer that you stare out into this, so Beth, what did you get? You got a 5.
5.
Ting, you got a 4. Like Ting, the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you are just getting this really bad feeling. Like you're like, nope, that I don't want to look at this anymore. Like, you start to think that there's something maybe moving out beyond the shifting color patterns.
Ooh.
But you can't tell if it's your imagination or if it's really there, or if or maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you because Beth is talking about wanting to do this, and maybe she told you a little bit about what the depressed spacer told her, but
this is creepy shit.
Yeah,
man.
You got a really bad feeling about it. Meanwhile, Beth's like, open all of the windows up.
I want to see which way the universe is leading me, I suppose.
So yeah, Beth, you're not really getting any real insight into this. But both you and Ting, and you especially, you're staring out into this, and you're getting this this internal foreboding sense of that maybe you shouldn't have done this. Maybe the old woman in the space bar was right, and maybe this is a disconnection from whatever divinity, if there is a divinity, or whatever the spiritual essence of humanity is, and that this maybe it is possible to lose your soul out here.
So, which path would make me go through jump space less? I guess is what we should look at. I think going all the way back and then all the way back up to Janus would make us jump more, wouldn't it?
So let's see.
Right? Am I crazy? That seems like the thing you could get out of this.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, so one of the questions that a lot of people would ask about what are these guys called again? I keep jumping out of this book. The neo-animists. One of the things that people, of course, ask them is, well, if you feel that being in jump space separates you from the spiritual, then how is it that these people actually go into jump space? And the realism, and I would think that Beth's intellect is probably high enough that she would have some grounding in this. Is that jump space and interstellar travel is more or less the lifeblood of the current civilization, and so people have to work, and the only way to do that is by trudging on, and so you're not sold, but you are looking out into this void, and you're kind of it is creepy to you, which is one of the reasons why ships always keep the windows shuttered. Now, Ting, Ting, you know a story that you heard from a friend who heard it, or you heard it from some spacer in a bar whose girlfriend told him, and she heard it from her best friend's uncle, and he heard it from another spacer that he didn't know very well. That said that at one point there was there was a ship and a crew in jump space, and that there was something trying to get in from the outside, to the point where the crew could hear something trying to take apart the mechanism to the airlock from outside the ship, and of course they couldn't do anything about it because they were in jump space, and you can't leave the ship. And so they spent a week in jump space in absolute terror, and then when they finally got to port, they did discover that there was damage to the airlock mechanism on the outside of the ship. Is the story that you heard?
And I I think we just need to double down. I think we're just dipping into the reality of what's in jump space, and we should stay up a couple of days and then stare out.
And take some hallucinogens.
Yeah, so we could maybe. I mean, we're dealing with all this psionic shit and everything. We're trying, and I think I really do. But I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to do it.
I believe in you, Ting.
Well, what would a person roll to hype themselves up enough to stay up a couple of days, drink hallucinogens, and stare out into jump space when they have a
See what
fear
you
of
can
it?
learn. Yeah,
Yeah.
see what you can learn. I'll medically supervise. It's okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to do is you need to make a morale check. So you're going to roll 2d plus your morale.
Do you
All
have
right.
the shaman skill? I don't know.
I don't. Yeah. I got a 13.
Okay, so you have the morale to actually maintain this kind of watch.
Yeah. For the team.
Then go ahead and roll 2d plus your sanity minus 2 for the hallucinogen.
Seven.
So, yeah, Ting has a bit of a I don't necessarily want to say a psychotic break, but he has an episode.
That's where the truth is in the episode.
It's a very special episode.
Yeah.
And you guys have to put him. You have to. Well, you're gonna have to wrestle him. So.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Here we go.
So Keith and Beth, well, all three of you make a grapple plus strength or dexterity check, your choice.
Let me see. Dex is all right. What I got grapple. Let me see.
I got an
melee?
8.
Where the fuck is
Is
grapple?
that melee unarmed?
I'm sorry. Yes, melee unarmed.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it's a grapple check.
Damn, Keith. Snap, you're gonna have a hard time beating this, dude. So I got 13 altogether.
Yeah.
And I got 12.
I am beat.
Well, you've been up for several days, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably take minuses due to fatigue and didn't even get an 8.
It was all worth it as long as you know which way we're supposed to go.
So, so
this.
Ting, so you guys have to first wrestle him out of the particle barbette turret, and he's kicking and clawing and screaming the entire way, and you are able to get him to the ground. Beth, you can, if you would like, you can just go ahead and knock him out. Give him a sedative and let these hallucinogens dream their way out of him if you would like.
That seems like the kind option.
Okay, so go ahead. You can go ahead and make a medic plus intellect or education check.
I got 9.
Okay, so you dose up Ting and kind of strap him into a bed in the sick bay, and he's gonna have a 12-hour nap, writing out these hallucinogens, and it's kind of like, My 6-year-old got into my gummies. Oh my god, I better rush him to the emergency. What do you think the emergency room's gonna do? He's fucking stoned, dude. He's gonna be stoned, so better just keep an eye on him and watch him ride it out because,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Better buy a lockbox.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to do something in jump space. It's a week.
yeah, this is probably one of the most eventful weeks in jump space you've had. I have a good friend who works for school system, and he is a special education teacher. And one of the students dosed his coffee on his desk with LSD.
Whoa.
And
That's not cool.
and yeah, well, no, it's not. But again,
Is it? No. I mean,
right?
is it really not cool though? I mean, he might have had a breakthrough and awakened himself.
Well,
I mean,
then to make matters worse, they insist on sending him to the ER. And here again, I'm like, what do you think they're going to do for him? Right? Like,
they're gonna
Yeah.
put needles in him and tell him that.
yeah, that's going to make it better. So
Yeah.
so he got to trip balls in the ER, and he said that worst time he's ever done acid in his life. So yeah, like, wow, that sounds great. You know, makes me want to run out and be a teacher. So
Well, you know, when you go to a dead show, that happens to you. Back in the day, you go to the dead show, and you might not want to do a bunch of LSD, but they're putting it on everything, and it's soaking in your skin, and you're
right, yeah, it's
off.
like, you've heard of acid rain. This is acid
Yeah.
rain. It's everywhere.
It's great. You know you start remembering, you know, being naked and dancing on a rock somewhere or something, you know, and people have drawn on you with magic marker. It's wonderful.
So you guys come out of jump and you saunter up to your fuel station, and you dock, and there's like what, probably about 3 guys on this fuel station. And the first thing they do is they're like, oh, you know, we've got some money for you.
Oh, yeah.
And they give you 6,200 credits,
Nice.
and they tell you a juicy rumor that a colony class, no, not colony class. What is that called?
Generation?
That's close. No, a Kinyan class colonial cruiser came through about 2 weeks ago. Now, Kinyan they are an old ship. Not really. They're not really used. They're definitely not manufactured anymore. In fact, many of them are sold off as surplus to some of these pocket kingdoms, sometimes to corporations, but they're usually sold to smaller governments or planetary fleets that can afford it. Basically for planetary or for system defense. Not necessarily system defense, because they are jump capable, but you're talking about a 1,200-ton ship. And the Kinyan class, the namesake of that ship, everybody has heard the story of the Kinyan, is that it was an experimental platform for artificial intelligence. And there's a lot of stories that go around about what happened. But none of it was good, and that AI on the Kinyan evidently went bad, and the situation just went from bad to worse, and the Kinyan was lost, and so that kind of put the kibosh on the Third Imperium's experimental AI in the military, and it's really weird because the Villani, who the Third Imperium is pretty much ruled by the Villani, being the one of the offshoots of humanity. They are very anti-AI. Like, they're very anti-AI. And so that whole thing was kind of weird to begin with. It was kind of a secret black ops project that blew up in their face. And so, but that was a long, long time ago. But these colonial cruisers are very old, so it's very strange that one would be moving up. There are some that are still in use by the Third Imperium, though. Usually, those are going to be relegated to backwaters that they don't deem to be, overly important.
Like the Trojan Reach.
Right. Pretty much the entire sector of the Trojan Reach. Yeah, fuck those guys. But yeah, you know that it's a 1,200-ton cruiser. It is a warship. It does have some formidable systems, mostly missiles, barbettes. Yeah, 1,200 tons. It's not a small ship.
No.
Which way to go?
He said that they went through, and as far as he knows, they were moving up the Sindalian main towards the Florian League. So, this way.
Are we going that way then?
I guess so. I guess that's a sign.
Okay. So, I'm not going to make you stop at every system. So, are you going to Janus first, or are you going to Caldos first?
Janus is. Oh wait, they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Right. So Janus is where
The
assassins were given their stuff from, and that's where we were just suggested to go to get information or to get equipment from.
Now you have some of that equipment with you. You've got serial numbers. You've got a shipping crate.
Mm-hmm.
With information on the crate that it came from Trojan hardware on Janus.
We try and make a return.
Make a return. Yeah, we could go to Janus first, or the other option is if we go to Caldos, then we can go straight to the prince's whatever his deal is there.
We've never been to Caldos. That's a good enough reason to go.
I don't think you've ever been to Janus either.
Yeah, I don't think we've been to Europe.
Oh shit. Okay. Well,
I mean, you probably refueled at their gas giant at one time because you've been up to Thor and Yggdrasil, yeah. So, I mean, you probably maybe passed through. Yeah, you would have passed through there, but I don't think you ever stopped on the main world.
So we'll just go there and we'll take some precautions. On one of these places, maybe Tier. I don't know. Hell, just we need to get shit so that way we can not leave fingerprints. We need to get flesh-looking gloves and stuff. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, we're being hunted, and we don't need to leave a trail. And maybe we need to switch to the Osiris before we head in there, just so that way we change our ship up. I don't know. This one's a little bit more stealthier, but
I think the prince knows both our ships, so
yeah.
I don't know if that'll help.
Yeah,
But,
I think the prince is the one sending fucking assassins after us. Is the deal?
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe,
and if he's on Caldos, then we should just go kill him, right? More or less.
We could try. I don't know if that's going to be easy.
No, it won't be, but having waves and waves of assassins isn't easy either. It's a lot more killing in the long run.
Yeah.
Where are you jumping to from number 1?
You guys want to go to Tick Tick?
yeah, we go
Or
to Tick Tick, or we can go to Aces.
Tick Tick is fine, isn't it?
Sounds fine to me. We're headed to Tick Tick.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So Tick Tick seems to be, yeah, it's Tick Tick. Where are you going from Tick Tick?
Say again.
Yeah.
Where are we going? I'd like to stop at Tier and have it. We've had something point us to Tier way back in the day, and it was something where there was a deal to be made about stopping some pirates, or Tier's the pirates, and we need to fucking do something to them.
Oh, that was a way back.
I do not remember. So that won't be useful.
Yeah, even
I don't know.
Even I
Are
don't
we
remember.
going to Caldos or are we going to Janus first?
Right.
That's the big thing. If we're going to Caldos first, we could go to Tier, check it out, and then go to Caldos in one jump. Or we could go to Sagan and poke around. I mean,
You're going to Janus.
all right. So then Sagan is the place that we're going.
Okay. So nothing of interest at Sagan. There you do note that there is a lot of traffic moving up and down. This is not unusual, but there's a lot of trade traffic moving, up and down the Dust Belt, heading towards the Florian League and back. At Tick Tick, you notice that there were ships that were going up and down, and up and down the Dust Belt. So going from Tick Tick towards Ace and number 1, there were some ships that were going to Aces, and probably continuing on into the Aslan Herring. This is the normal trade route. But aside from that, you don't run into anything interesting overly at Sagan. And you finally, let's see, that was 1, 2, 3. So after about 3.5 weeks, you make it to Janus. Now Janus is what would be considered the end of the Spinward end of the Sandalian main, and Janus kind of it 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 is under the benefit of the fact that there is a research, or there is a what is this symbol? What do they call that? There's a research station at Dostoevsky, and there is a military presence at Gabriel, and so Janus doesn't necessarily have a military presence aside from Trojan hardware, but they are in a advantageous position that the ships from Dostoevsky and Gabriel kind of patrol the parsecs around this area, and so they kind of have this feeling of security. But Trojan hardware for them really sold it. Now, the deal, people of Janus are pretty. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say rude, but they are not overly pleased with outsiders, and this does not extend to personnel from Trojan hardware. They pretty much treat Trojan hardware like they are locals, and they are people that work for Trojan hardware are pretty much considered, you know, part of the gang. But everything else for you guys, down to the Class C starport is very, very cold and off-putting. Or like very short answers and just kind of wanting to move you along. But this is, so as I said, this is a Class C starport, which means not much. The startown is probably bigger than the starport. They have unrefined fuel available. It will cost you 400 credits for berthing per day. They do have facilities to manufacture and repair small craft. Not so much anything bigger than 100 tons. I don't think they have a high port, but let's see. No, they don't even have a high port. And so, well, I don't know if that's true. The reason why I don't know that that's true is because this is on the Spinward main. Or not on the Spinward main, the Sindalian main. They do have a high port that's very very limited. It is for cargo. Basically, it's floating warehouses for the most part. And so you are on planet side. Like I said, unrefined fuel, so 4,000 credits to refuel for 40 tons of fuel. 8,000 if you want to refuel your bladder.
Okay, I'll do that.
Although you don't, unless you want that second jump too, you don't really need to. You're on the mains.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right.
And Janus hardware is not difficult to find. They have a storefront. It looks like you're going to a Kmart. They just have a big sign, Trojan Hardware, and they've got a showroom. And you walk in and you see a number of dungarees and jumpsuits, almost identical to the ones from the assassins that attacked you on Drinax.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a guy behind the counter. There's a couple of employees. Some are in the back working their warehouse stuff. And a floor salesman comes out and says, "Oh, hello. What can I help you with?"
We got a crate of weapons we would like to return.
Oh my gosh, was there something wrong with them? Did they not function properly?
Yeah, they were supposed to kill us, and we're still alive. So thought you might want them back.
Go ahead and make a persuasion plus persuasion plus your choice. If you're if you're wanting to be, how intimidating do you want to be with this? Are you tapping your fingers on the butt of your pistol? Or are you,
I'm pretty badass. I don't know. Sure.
If you're doing that, you can, go ahead and make a persuasion plus social check.
Oh, come on. Don't do that to me. So that's like 5 because I rolled some guys. How shitty is that? I came up with something good to say and rolled snake. Damn it!
You rolled snake eyes?
Yes, I came up with something cool and then I rolled and it was like, nope. These guys just don't have a good sense of humor.
What was your total?
5.
So that's, that's not the worst. So 2 to 5 is an average failure. He's not really intimidated. He says, "Oh, well, I guess that's good for you."
I'm gonna tell him that we'll need to see his computer.
Says, "We can't allow that. We can't allow that."
Are we just bull rushing
Can
up
we
in
find
here?
out? Can we find out who
he says we
ordered
we
this?
can't give out personal data or our private records, you know, of anything sensitive to just anybody that comes in. He says
Can you
we
at
would
least
afford
tell us
you
who
the.
ordered this?
He says we would afford you the same security.
Okay. All right.
So if he would pretend he were us, what would he do? Because there's obviously still people after us, and this is our lead.
He
And if he can't do it, where the fuck would he go?
so he looks
Maybe I'll buy some shit if he has a good tip.
he looks through the crate. You're bringing the crate in with you, I take it.
Yeah.
So he looks through it and he says, "Oh yeah, these are the modular personal weapons." He goes, and he pulls one up and he goes, "Yeah, these are ours." He says, "Yeah, that's well, clearly whoever was using them didn't know what they were doing." He says, or you know, maybe you guys are just better." He's like, you know, there's
How
always
many people are in here?
there's him. There's another guy behind the counter, and you saw that there were at least 2 other guys in the back room working towards the warehouse.
All right, but so there's 2 people right up in here, right?
Correct.
Immediately.
Correct.
So if we were to fuck these 2 people up or incapacitate them real quick, the guys in the back probably wouldn't even know, and we could just jump on the computer and have our way, provided we had the skills to access their shit.
I mean, that's a possibility.
That's
I mean,
Might not
that's
even-
one route.
Do you think they even retain records of anything though? It seems to me like somewhere they just like delete everything.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of like these fuckers came after us, and I think we should do that
Well,
horror movie I've been wanting to do,
So
and just fucking do it on these guys.
so imagine some guy goes to the corner convenience store and buys a pack of cigarettes, lights it, goes outside and burns you with the cigarette. You're going inside and getting pissed off at the clerk that sold the guy the cigarettes. You see what I'm saying, though? I mean,
yeah. We just want to know who sold them, so that or who bought them.
Is
They've
there
got
a
a contract
price?
with
Yeah.
whoever bought this. It's not just like a one-off order. There's no way.
Do you think? They might be a Kmart. I don't know.
He says, well, he says, you know, he says, he kind of leans forward and he goes, so, a crate of these, hold on, he says, I'll tell you what. He says, if you were to, so these were generally, and he looks up on his, oh. Sorry about that. So he looks up on his mobile comm, and he says, so these were sold as part of the one of our infantry weapons packages. He says, you know, if you were to say, if you wanted to purchase one of these to be identical to what was purchased previously, you know, that would I would have to look that up to see who purchased this so that you could get what they purchased. Are you catching my drift?
How much would that cost?
He says an infantry weapons package costs 7,500 credits.
Oh, I can afford that. Yeah, I would be interested in coming to that.
Okay, so you're getting quite a bit.
Oh goodness, I'm gonna have to write things down, aren't I?
Well, it's I will create a list of what you're getting with this, but it is it's a lot. There's a lot in this. I mean, all of it is like TL8 stuff. I mean, this is stuff that you could drop onto a planet, and essentially what these are designed to do is you hand them out to the locals, which kind of is what happened with you guys. And so he looks, he goes, okay, well, let's see what this exact package was that was purchased. And he looks up the serial number on the rifle, and he says, "Oh," he says, "Well," he says, "It looks like this was ordered by." An account that is attached to Prince Richter Grihai.
Okay.
And he says it appears that he's made this order several times over the past couple of years. Same order every time.
Anyone else gotten this order?
He says that this particular order was shipped out to. He says all of them are shipped to different locations. A lot of them are shipped to Caldos. He says, but several of this particular order was shipped directly to Drinax. And he says all of these are shipped out usually on a subsidized merchant named Porthang.
Has the Porthang been around lately?
He says you would have to look that up at the port. I'm not sure. But the last shipment that I see that went out was probably about 2 months ago.
All right. Well, he's proved mighty helpful. He's earned his sales commission. We could go to the port and check out records for Porthang.
Yeah, we can go check the registry in the port.
So there is, whenever a ship docks at a port, yours included. Of course, there are public inspections. They got to make sure that it's space worthy. Although it's a Class C starport, so it's not quite as tight as you might want it to be. They'll probably overlook the fact that a door plug came out of the side of your ship and things like that. So, but there are public details of every ship that comes into port, and anybody can look this up at any kiosk. And there's not a whole lot of information. It's just the ship's class, its port registry, and general capabilities, and then there is a brief section of notes that are put down by portside bureaucrats and sometimes engineers. And you do find Porthang in the public registry. In this case, it seems that there's a fair amount of verbiage in the notes. It appears that Porthang, being a subsidized merchant, is a fairly old ship. It has been re-registered and is based out of Thebes. And it was re-registered about 60 years ago. There's no information on where it was registered previously. There's a note that says that that is an explanation that the ship's name is a corruption of Poor Thing. And the note goes on to state that the ship lives up to it. There are copious details about breakdowns and repairs, a succession of ship's engineers jumping ship or ending up in jail due to fights that they've started in the starport bars. And it seems that some of these fights, according to port authorities, it looks like the engineer picked a fight just so that they could get thrown in jail to not have to work on the ship anymore, to not have to keep it running. And the general maintenance notes from inspectors and engineers is that it is generally kept in poor repair and has barely passed their Class C port inspections.
Right.
You are seeing that Porthang makes a visit approximately 80 to 100 days apart, and it seems that it has been running up and down the main for several years.
So we could. So how long until it's due back? approximately?
How frequently does it come here?
It just left, not
Well,
not too long ago. Um, but its destination or its flight declaration is not listed publicly. Could you could grease some palms around the port and ask around.
Let's do that. Everybody get out your grease.
how much? What kind of jump capability does it have?
So subsidized merchant is only a J1.
So it's probably going to Caldas, at least first.
Mm. Yeah.
Whoever wants to ask around the port, how many credits are you spending wanting to bribe people, or are you buying drinks, or what are you doing?
We are carousers, I believe.
Usually, that's the pirate thing to do.
Drinks and
spend-
carouse.
Okay.
We have 500 credits we could spread around.
Okay, so go ahead and make a carouse. And give yourself a +3 to that.
13.
Dang. All right. That
Okay.
works.
So Tinga's boozing. He's probably still has a hangover from the hallucinations and the and the anesthetic. But so you go asking around, and you get people, these port engineers and whatnot. As soon as you ask, if any of them, as you're sitting there having drinks, if any of them know about or have heard of Porthang, all of them are like, "Oh God, that shit," and they generally tell you essentially what you already heard from the public database. But they also tell you that it is a tired ship crewed by second-rate personnel running mixed freight, and so you never know what it is that they're going to have loaded up. Occasionally, her crew seem to engage in speculative trading, so they might pick up whatever is available on Janus as it comes out of the Florian League, or going up. If somebody sells in the port at Janus, they'll buy and then try to sell it later, hoping to make a profit. He says, so, they do some speculative trading. He says, from what I've gathered, they're not very good at it. So it's a catch-all on what they're going to buy, because they have no idea what they're doing. And they tell you that crew turnover on the ship appears to be fairly high. The one flight inspector says that he has seen different engineers almost every time Porthang has made port. Her crew also tend to drink a lot, and they get very loud when they're on liberty. One of the crewmen, or one of the portmen, tell you that he says this is pretty common knowledge that they're always drunk while they're in port. And he says, but I mean that's not unusual. He says, trade ships are what they are, and after being that in jump space for a week, he goes, you're probably going to want to let loose when you're in port. He tells you that the last thing that they tell you is that the last time that they visited Janus was a little bit different. He says the crew was better behaved, they were cleaned up, freshly shaved, and the cargo that they took on was different. He says that normally the cargo is a mix of imperial goods with some military, or with some paramilitary hardware thrown in from Trojan hardware. He says in this case, though, he says they had cargo waiting, and it was all neat in identical containers, and there was just enough to fill her entire hold. So filling the hold of a subsidized merchant, that's pretty impressive, because a subby, the Type R subsidized merchant, has 201 tons of cargo space.
In better repair this last time too?
No, it was still. I mean, the ship still looked like crap. I mean, they might have actually washed it, but I mean, as far as whether or not it was barely held together with duct tape and a prayer, that much was pretty much true. He says the details of the cargo, nobody knows what was in it, but it was all neatly stacked, and it was all in identical containers, and it was all set to fit in that large subby cargo hold. And he says, I'd be willing to bet that those containers were filled with weapons.
Where do you think they went?
He says, to his knowledge, they were setting course back down the Sindalian Main. And so a subsidized merchant only has J1. It had to go to Caldos. There's really nowhere else it could have gone. And those cargo containers filled its entire hold, so it couldn't have been using a fuel bladder.
Good to know.
Sagan is. I mean, we jump immediately to Sagan, and we probably catch them.
Well, it depends, unless they're stopping at Caldos.
Well, I mean, if they're, yeah, I mean, we could. The tier, we could jump to tier, and beat them there, and just camp out for them. But Tiers looks to be a little bit more active in the system, whereas Sagan is just a Class C. I mean, but if they're just a J1, I mean, we hit any one of those up ahead of them. As long as we go faster, we can in essence provide a blockade.
The guys on Salif told you that Caldos is where to go to get mercenary tickets to hire on with Grihai. And this guy just told you that they loaded up a subsidized merchant with 201 tons of neat identical boxes that he thinks probably looked like weapons, and they're heading back down the main.
They're probably going to stop in Caldos to give to mercenaries.
Yeah, if we tried to go to Sagan, we're probably going to overshoot them.
Yeah, maybe so. I guess we'll go to Caldors and see if we can sniff them out, cut them off.
Or get some information. Whoever hired our assassins probably did it through here. So
yeah.
Okay. We will pick this up next week with you guys coming out of Jump Space into Caldos and see what you can learn there.
Hopefully with fewer psychotic breaks next week.
Well, I mean, that was required to get the insight you wanted. We had to.
Psychotic breaks are how you get the spiritual insight.
Yeah,
that's right.
We wouldn't have.
I should have just gone left. You always go left. I fucking went left. So. Oh well.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you next week.